COVID-19 cases is our top story in your Barbados Today Evening News Update for Tuesday, April 5. So glad you could join us. COVID-19 cases are rising in Barbados, and authorities suggest the spike is likely due to the BA.2 Omicron subvariant. At a national COVID-19 update this evening, Deputy Chief Medical Officer Dr. Anton Best delivered the news as he gave a breakdown of the numbers.
In the last 8 days, we've diagnosed approximately 2,000 infections, and the reproductive number is 1.5, which simply means that one infected case can lead to 1.5 cases, or 2 persons who are infected can lead to 3. So it is growing. And when the parity corrective is 1.0, or rather when it is less than 1.0, it is when you have control of the outbreak and it cannot grow. The minister would have also mentioned that the doubling rate is approximately 3 to 4.5 days. Once again, these are all indicators signaling that there is growth of the epidemic.
Samples have been sent to the Trinidad-based Caribbean Public Health Agency to confirm the new subvariant.
Since January of this year, we knew that our epidemic was being driven by Omicron, a more transmissible yet milder variant of COVID, and this is in keeping with what we were seeing globally. We are preparing to send samples to the CARFA labs in Trinidad for genomic testing to determine if the BA.2 subvariant of COVID is at play, but we can reasonably assume that BA.2 subvariant is here and is circulating in Barbados. The Omicron variant is the most dominant variant circulating globally, and the BA.2 variant has been taken over in the last 4 to 6 weeks. It is a subvariant of COVID, not a distinct variant from, it's a subvariant of Omicron. It is not a distinct variant of concern.
The increase in cases has resulted in more admissions at the Harrison's Point facility. Head of isolation facilities, Dr. Corey Ford, said there are 75 people, 10 of whom are in primary isolation. He expressed concern about patients presenting themselves for treatment.
So as we look at the majority of those admissions over this period of time, the majority of those individuals that I mentioned are actually people who are asthmatic and have gotten asthmatic attacks in the presence of COVID. And it's with that I would like to encourage all of those certainly who are in the community who are asthmatics and who may have symptoms of COVID or have COVID to present themselves very early to our system. What does that mean? And to just spell it out for you very clearly. If you feel unwell and you have COVID, I'm asking you to present yourself through the operations center to our assessment centers. Those 2 assessment centers still remain at the 4-H facility in Belleville and the facility at the Barbados Workers Union College in St. Philip. You can present yourself through the Operations Center for assessment. And I'm really encouraging because people, from what we're seeing, especially some of the younger ones, are presenting to the facility a bit late after 4 or 5 days of symptoms. And then obviously that's a struggle for us. I think that if you present early, it puts yourself in a better position to do better. So I want to first encourage you in that. I want to talk to Barbados today on the last point when it comes to isolation. And that really is to those people who are in households of elderly people. And there I go again. One of the things I'm continuing to see, which I'm very unhappy with, is the elderly persons who are presented who are unvaccinated. If you have old granny, grandfather, your grandma, your neighbor next door, you know they're not vaccinated, try to get them vaccinated. And if they've been vaccinated and they have their 2 shots, make sure that they go and get boosted.
Meanwhile, Dr. Adana Grandison, consultant manager of the home quarantine program, reported that there were currently just over 2,000 people in home isolation. She noted that most patients had little to no symptoms, referred to as the green category, but there's been an increasing number of patients in the yellow category. That's where patients experience mild to moderate symptoms. She stressed the need for vaccination.
I know a lot of persons say, well, I'm not going to get vaccinated simply because if I get infected, if I get sick, I'll get better. I'm relatively healthy. But it's not just acute COVID that we're thinking about. It's also the quality of life, possibly with the development of long COVID. And so in terms of wanting to have a better quality of life, this vaccine is not only helping you in terms of mitigating severe disease for the acute illness, but also decreasing the chances of you possibly developing the complications associated with long COVID.
People who flaunt the COVID-19 directives, especially those who refuse to wear masks in public spaces, may soon be dealt with by way of a ticketing system. This was revealed by Minister of Health and Wellness Ian Gooden-Edgell this evening, who said he intends to have discussions with Attorney General Dale Marshall on the possibility of moving in that direction.
We are aware of the concerns regarding face masks, but masks are still highly recommended and effective in reducing the impact of COVID. The Ministry of Health and Wellness, through its Health Promotion Officer and volunteers, will be increasing the distribution of masks in the community. Concerns have been raised about the continued use of prosecutions and the court system to deal with what some consider to be relatively minor breaches of the COVID directive. Other jurisdictions have been using ticketing systems as a quick and effective means of punishing individuals who break the rules. We will therefore discuss with the Attorney General how a ticketing system could be implemented in Barbados to deal with such things as the failure to wear masks in a public space and other similar breaches.
With Barbados seeing an increased number of positive COVID-19 cases, the health minister urged the public to continue to wear their masks and to get vaccinated and boosted.
Vaccinations and boosting are still the most effective prevention strategies to prevent against severe illness, hospitalization, and death. Based on the data and other factors I have presented, we do not regard this new situation as a setback. Rather, the possibility of such an occurrence has been long anticipated and planned for, given that such events are a natural part of the internal behavior of viruses. As I've said before, all indications are that we will have to continue to live, work, and socialize safely in this COVID-19 environment, closely following the established and proven protocols.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
The pandemic is not over yet. We may have forgotten about it, but the Wuhan virus has not left us. More than 2 years on, the original hotspot is now reporting the maximum number of cases. I'm talking about China, the birthplace of the virus. The lockdown in the world's biggest hotspot, Shanghai, has been extended. Daily infections have risen to more than 13,000 cases. These are the numbers that we know about. There could be more. This is the official data. The military has been called in for containment in Shanghai. China has deployed its troops. This is the biggest outbreak since Wuhan. And the world knows that. The Chinese press says there's nothing to worry about. The China strategy of zero COVID will prevail in the end. Tonight we'll tell you why it's not working. Zero COVID is failing miserably. The residents of Shanghai are suffering. They're being beaten up by healthcare workers. They're being pushed and shoved into buses and shipped off to quarantine centers. And in quarantine, they're literally fighting for survival. Tonight on Gravitas, we have 5 videos for you. 5 videos that expose the truth about China's zero COVID strategy. It's been a while since we talked about the pandemic. Seems like the world has moved on, and it has, except for one country, the home country of the Wuhan virus. It is the very picture of chaos. China is struggling, and how? I'm going to show you a video, and let me say that it's disturbing. We advise viewer discretion. This video is believed to be from Shanghai, a healthcare worker violently enforcing quarantine orders. Is it a crime to be a COVID patient? In China, it seems it is. China is going through a pandemic nightmare. New cases are being reported. Millions have been put in quarantine. There is food shortage. There is panic buying. There's a...
If you remember clearly, this virus started November 2019 in this same country called China. And quick saw it was all over the globe. Every country was on lockdown, etc., etc. So now you got a new variant, BA2. You be seeing in China 13,000 cases, and now we see in Barbados here cases have skyrocketed, along with rising food prices, rising petroleum prices, etc. We're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rucha Kwadash, and double honor to my teachers, the apostles, the elders, and the bishops of Great Millstone. Shalom to the Akin worldwide that are sincere and serious doing the will of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rucha Kwadash. 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 1 and 2. To you all. The brother, the disciple Koshab and Yamin from the branch of the Great Millstone, Barbados, and Bill Gates said, the second crisis will surely get your attention, you know. So we see some videos here in Wuhan, China. What's going on? And as these cases in Barbados increase, it's going to cause a lot of tension, boy. You people ain't ready. You focusing on Matthew 16 and 1. St. Matthew 16 and 1. The Pharisees also with the Sadducees came, attempting to desert him, that he would show them a sign from heaven. He answered and said unto them, when it is evening, ye say it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering. O ye hypocrites, ye can discern the face of the sky, but can you not discern the signs of the times? And that's the point. These people here so focused on crop over returning.
Buying. There is food shortage. There is panic.
You're really seeing the bigger picture. They even tell you here to start to conserve non-perishable food items. Is right? So these supermarkets can be raided with a lot of people when they ain't ready for what can happen, boy. Real thing. Let's play a couple more minutes of this here and close. You people ain't seeing what's going on. You know what? You get another precept there. Proverbs 22 verse 3. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself. The word evil means bad times. Eve means age and ill means bad. You put the word together, it means bad time or bad age. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself. Hide himself how? In the scripture, Psalm 91 Psalms 23, etc. But the simple pass on, meaning you ain't taking heed to these signs of the times, and I'll punish. So this is what happened to a lot of you people, boy. Just pay a couple more minutes here and close out. Sharp. Hope this comes out properly, huh?
There is panic buying. There is food shortage. There is panic buying. There's a lot of suffering. Making all of it worse is the Communist Party. They've imposed draconian measures. Patients are being forced into quarantine. People are dying due to lack of care. Little children are being separated from their families. The public anger is growing, and it's usually difficult to gauge public sentiment on the mainland. People don't speak up in China. When they do, they face a crackdown. We all know that. China does not put up with dissent. And yet, news has a way of coming out, sooner or later. Same with the suffering of the Chinese people. Tonight, we will show you 5 videos to sum up how China is punishing its people after failing to control the Wuhan virus. We're going to start with Shanghai, and we'll tell you what's happening there. The world's biggest hotspot right now, that's Shanghai. More than 20 million citizens are under lockdown. Local authorities are struggling. A few days ago, the army was deployed in Shanghai. That's how bad the situation is. The city's healthcare system has collapsed, but China is still sticking to its zero COVID rule. The one that has seen zero success. Zero COVID means mass testing. It also means tough quarantine, and it's not delivering. The virus is still spreading. So what does China do? Zero tolerance. That's their new mantra. Punishing the people for contracting the virus. And I will show you how. This is video number 1. Again, this is believed to be from Shanghai. People are being forced into centralized quarantine facilities. Healthcare workers in PPE kits are picking them up and forcing them into isolation. Once again, we advise viewer discretion.
So Esau will come this time once it be here too. Variant increases more and more. Plus we had cricket here last month. All these Edomites and the different heaters walking about here maskless, all in the bars, etc. Can't tell them what to do. The cases is bound to increase, quote unquote. Proverbs 3:24, be not afraid of sudden fear, neither of the desolation of the wicked when it cometh. For the Lord shall be thy confidence, and shall keep thy foot from being taken. So that's why you harp and pun. That's right. That's why you harp and pun. But you other people out there, you ain't got the Lord as your confidence, You ain't got Yahweh, that's his name in the ancient Paleo tongue, Hebrew, and the son Yahweh Shai as your confidence.
Citizens being shoved into buses like they're criminals. Now, we don't know if they tested positive, but they were being taken to a quarantine facility. To call this inhumane would be an understatement. China was unable to contain the Omicron outbreak, and now the people of Shanghai are paying for the government's failure. Now, in the quarantine centers, the situation is hardly any better. There's chaos. This is video number 2. We received this one earlier today. It is from a quarantine site in Shanghai. People here were fighting for supplies. What for. Basic needs, stuff like blankets, food, even water. Residents of Shanghai have lodged complaints now, and we've accessed one such complaint. This is a woman talking about the same quarantine site that you just saw. Her mother was admitted there. Let me quote from what she said. My mum tested positive and was at home for a week, laying low, and she recovered. Yet they recklessly took her away. When she arrived, she had to snatch a room for herself. Nothing was fixed. People who tested positive and negative all mixed together.
That's the reason why they go to the communities to find out your household, how many people in your house, if you've been vaccinated, if you've been tested, etc. They got everything marked down. You see? So they will know where to come. It's easier for them. So I know my time coming. This next lockdown that will happen. I know they're coming. But the Lord's will be done. So I can close there because I ain't got much phone storage. All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai.
There was no hot water, no healthcare workers, no nurses. There was nothing. People had to fight over food and water. The chaos and the confusion was over the limit. Like we told you before, it's a nightmare. And some people are now openly defying rules. This is video number 3. It shows a man walking on the streets of Shanghai. He defied the law. He stepped out without a mask. Now look at what they did to him. The man was hauled into a police vehicle and taken away. He was accused of violating pandemic prevention rules. Taking off the mask may not be the best way to protest, we agree, but the Chinese people say they've had enough. Here is another one. Video number 4. It's of an old man defying lockdown orders. Clearly people are losing patience. I'll come to our 5th and final video for tonight. It shows a woman shouting and complaining about the restrictions. That's what happens when people lose faith in their government. Defying rules in China can cost you a lot.
Well, the scripture says, "Cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departeth from the Lord." The scripture says, "The world shall mourn." Let me get this last video here. If your phone cut out, it cut out.
Moving on now, let's take a look at the COVID-19 situation in China, which is getting worse by the day. Now, the country is said to be responsible for the origin of COVID-19 and has reported 20,000 fresh cases on Wednesday. This is the highest daily rise recorded in China since the beginning of the pandemic. The city of Shanghai has emerged as the heart of the virus surge despite being in lockdown. China's zero-COVID strategy has come under scrutiny until March this year. The country had kept daily cases low. This was made possible with snap lockdowns, mass testing, strict restrictions on international travel, but the caseload has now reached thousands per day. Officials say they have detected a mutation of the highly transmissible variant Omicron. This variant has been identified near Shanghai. China recorded 20,472 new infections and no deaths. The majority of the cases are said to be asymptomatic. Quarantine facilities in Shanghai are full of COVID-positive patients, COVID-positive infants. Children have been separated from their parents who've tested negative. This policy has stirred anxiety among families who are worried for their loved ones. Shanghai is China's largest city. It accounts for more than 80% of the national tally of cases. 25 million residents of Shanghai are in a state of lockdown. This has triggered panic buying as well. Residents are angry. They're frustrated over lack of fresh food and curtailed movement. A top Shanghai official said that the city had been insufficiently prepared for the outbreak. COVID-19 was first detected in the Chinese city of Wuhan, as you know, in late 2019.
So there you have it. There you have it. When attention has your attention been grabbed, or are you still gonna ignore all these things? So yeah, let me see if we get his last preset. The world shall mourn. That's how it goes. The world shall mourn. Oh, come on, man. Alright, this phone wanna play the fool. Shalom.